Hello and welcome to the podcast. It's January, everyone. Everyone's favourite, incredibly long month. I, for one, feel invigorated by all the Christmas and New Year cheer, which in no way hammered home the fact I'm single and 34 and fine with that. Are you seeing anyone at the moment? Family members ask. I'm in no rush, I respond, before adding, I'm married to my job. They then turn away to continue the chat to the person they love and married, or tend to the children that they now have. But this year is a new year. The year of possibility. The possibility that I may actually sell more than a fifth of the capacity of a relatively small room in Nottingham for my upcoming tour. As for Emslie, well, he basically cracks on as he was, living life with no anxiety and everything basically being fine. But listeners, in his ninth year of doing stand-up comedy, an amount of time that he'll always dispute, will this finally be the year that he writes a show? Well, only he can answer that question. One thing I do know is that he'll be taking social media by storm, churning out 10 variations of an idea that he had about 4 years ago that annoyingly still seems to work. Listeners, do not worry. There'll be plenty more Parsons and Emslie content this year, more than there has ever been. And as I continue to cling to Emslie like a lonely blood-sucking parasite he picked up travelling with his girlfriend that he loves. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Welcome, everybody.
That was fun, wasn't it?
We're back on.
That was fun. That's my New Year's intro. Happy New Year, by the way. Happy New Year, listeners.
Year.
We didn't really say that in the last podcast.
In the one that was the New Year.
The New Year podcast, but you know, Happy New Year.
Time moves on.
Doesn't it just?
Doesn't it
fly?
On? How was your Christmas?
My Christmas and New Year, for the listeners, hasn't actually happened yet.
Yeah.
But I was very much referring back to old ones.
Oh, no, I'm joking.
Yes.
It was a little joke.
It was a fun joke, yes.
Yeah, on your intro, you mentioned about potentially dating, seeing somebody. One thing I wanted to chat about with you was that...
Oh, God, I'm going to get a grilling already, listeners. Actually, now you mention it, and I sort of know where this is going.
Sit down and settle in.
Sit down, settle in. I'm going to have a go at you.
Yes. I find it so funny chatting to you about people you're dating because you want to find, you know, if you find somebody that improves your life.
If you could. If you could find someone that improved your life. Wow. We're aiming high, listeners.
You know what I mean. But you don't want to be in a relationship with anyone. You want to be in a relationship with somebody who improves and betters your life and makes you feel comfortable,
so
happy.
Sue me.
No, I'm not having a go at you, you prick.
Oh, the problem with you is you want to date someone that will improve your life.
No,
and that's just aiming quite high, if you ask me.
Have you seen you, mate? Bring it down a bit. No, this is a positive. What I'm saying is positive. I've not got to the negative bit. And it's coming.
I know.
You're preempting it. The negative bit, or not negative, but bit I find really interesting is...
No, say it as it is, the negative bit.
The part where you will be on the apps, I will go, yes, that person looks lovely, but have you looked at where they live? And you'll go, well, I don't think that Girona is too far.
I have got a horrible... I mean, if you look at my dating history, almost no one is from England.
Which isn't a problem, but when you don't want a long-distance relationship, which you don't, ideally, you would have a relationship where they live.
I don't know what it is. Tinder, right? And this is for my single ladies. It's for my single ladies. I don't know what it is about Tinder at the moment, but it seems like I will match with someone and then I'll look and they are in Zimbabwe or something.
Uzbekistan. Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't know they were there because you swipe based on visual, don't we all? So I do end up matching with people. The people are then I get chatting to them and then I'm like, oh, maybe I am into this guy, and I'm going, well, now I just need to move to Edinburgh.
Yeah, I just find it a really interesting quirk.
It's a quirk, and some would say, haven't had a relationship in about 6 years. Maybe there's a reason for that. Even my last relationship, my first date was in fucking Tunbridge Wells.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I trekked for that. A little train.
Have an Oyster card willing to travel.
And then we did a relationship for 7 or 8 months at that point between Kent and London.
Yeah.
So I do have previous.
I don't think the long distance relationship
Fact. Sorry, just going back. Sorry to interrupt. I think the relationship before was also long distance. Yeah. I mean, it was, again, a huge gap between that one and the other one.
But I don't think long distance in itself is a problem. I just think you need to accept that is what that's going to be.
The idea that I could find someone within the same city as me. It could happen.
I find it mad that you...
In the world's most populous city of London. Sorry, just not enough choice here, actually.
I find it mad that you obviously look at the person, what they like, what they dislike, all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
I find it mad that you don't take into account where they live.
It bothers me less. Like, I would happily do an hour commute.
Yes, but an hour's fine. We're talking to people from Eritrea.
Yeah, okay, yeah, fair enough. There is a problem, probably not Eritrea, based on the legality of sexuality there. But generally speaking, I know. But the problem is whenever the first thing I do whenever I look on a dating profile is the classic heighten if they like football.
Sure.
Heighten if they like football. If they tick both of those things, I'm like, great.
Let's not bother looking
at
at
7'2" man who loves football.
Let's not
then
bother.
Check the team. Bristol Rovers, you can fuck off. Cardiff, no thank you.
Oh, I think that...
I joke. I would definitely date someone who I just wouldn't respect them.
Well, if they lived in Bristol or Cardiff, that's closer than anyone.
I am getting more... Like, the problem is the older you get, the more niche your type becomes. The more narrow your type becomes because the more experiences you have, I think. Maybe that's bollocks.
No, I can understand that the older you get and the
more specific it becomes, I think.
Well, I think as well you know what you like. And as I
Yes.
said at the start that you somehow interpreted as a negative, you want somebody that's going to improve your life and like build you up.
No, it just sounded like the tone you were saying. It's like, you need that. And let's face it, just fucking settle with someone.
Just pick somebody.
Pick a team and run with them. No,
Come on, mate. You picked Bristol City,
and they're permanently 12. No, I would like a partner, particularly when you watch things like Heartstopper that we talked about in the last episode, and it's so romantic and lovely, and you're like, no, I would like all that.
Do you need the romance? Are you a romantic?
Yes, I am actually. I really like romance. Actually,
Actually.
actually, I'm a romantic. Actually, no, I'm a bit romantic.
Are you?
I'm romantic. I'm very much, my love language is cooking. I love cooking for people and partners. Like that's what I love. Mm-hmm. So I'm less sort of let's go for a romantic stroll across. That's less of that. More, here's a lovely meal I cooked. Now can you bang me? No joke.
Here's a lovely meal I cooked.
Let's get back in.
While I was in the kitchen not speaking to you.
Yeah. And
don't cut the onion. Put the onion down.
Don't you dare even enter the kitchen.
Yeah.
That is my domain.
You're very sweet when I come round to your house. The kitchen is your domain.
Yeah, no.
You don't want me anywhere near it.
No,
and I walk in
out.
to get some water while you're cooking something, and you're like,
you cooked toast earlier on my fucking grill. I was like, yeah, he's just fucking got toast.
I can't believe you don't have a toaster.
No, grill.
That's mental.
Our toasters are ugly. I don't want them on the side.
It's all about aesthetic with
It
you.
It is all about aesthetic with me.
You could get that's
a nice aesthetic boyfriend who has a toaster.
You could get a guy with a toaster. If you lower your expectations enough, mate, you
could dream as high as owning a toaster with a man.
owning a toaster.
There are certain things that minimalism have driven me to do. Not having a toaster on my side is one of them.
Yeah, I find that wild.
Also, grill does a job. You can measure it, and you can accidentally burn things. You forget about the fact they're in there. I like living life on the edge.
You just have to heat up your whole oven to grill. The toaster just does it. Yeah.
Efficient.
Not efficient.
Non-efficient, but, you know, gotta live life.
There we go.
Gotta live life.
We've gone from partners to toast. Potential partners to toast.
Anyway, it's been lovely chatting to you guys. I've had my weekly grilling about my solitude, and to be fair, I do moan about it.
No,
if I didn't moan about it, you'd be like less asked about the fact that I only match with people from talking to a lovely guy from Italy.
I genuinely don't mind. I just always say, whenever I hear from you that you're chatting to somebody, my first question is,
where are they based?
Where are they based? What is their postcode?
It's very rare where I go, London.
Yeah.
It's often.
Often?
They live in Madrid at the moment, but they might move here. That's what they might move to London. They mentioned that they might do that.
Often it's that they might move, or... Well, no, they're in London for 2 weeks until they go back to their hometown of fucking Glasgow.
Fallaraki.
Yeah. I found, yeah.
Yeah, no. Would be good. But
It's not a problem, mate. I want you to find the right person who owns a toaster.
what you need is someone to just take the burden off you for a bit.
No, I don't
Yeah,
mind.
just a bit of... You need someone, mate.
No, I'm not saying that.
No?
I'm saying you need the right person.
The right person.
The right person.
As long as that right person comes just a little bit quicker than they're currently coming. Just ever so slightly faster
I'm not saying that.
No, of course.
I'm not.
Course. I always the same course in a Scouse accent. Right, I think we've got a voice note of the week. Have we, Emslie?
We do, and this one comes from me.
Is it you? Is it you this week?
And it's a mistake.
Is it a mistake?
It's a mistake. So
it's mad.
It's a gig review.
Yes.
And I do a gig review in the car, and as I don't want to be touching my phone in the car, I do it all based on record, send, etc. And this one didn't send, so I believe... Let's listen to it.
Oh, yes.
I will get onto it tomorrow, and we'll have them, and I can post them, and we can basically get moving with all that sort of stuff, which is great.
Oh, you went quite cockney there.
Hope you have a lovely evening. Thanks so much for your time. Bye-bye. Da, 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 da. Is that not sent? Oh, bollocks. Oh, no. There we go.
It really made me... I remember that coming through and I just cried with laughter for about 3 minutes. I love that.
Me singing a little bit of a song.
The fact that the thought, mic's down.
Yeah.
I'm going to just sing a little song.
Oh, yeah.
Do a little dance, get down tonight.
I was having a lovely time.
What's your driving routine in terms of like, what do you have music on? Do you have podcasts? Do you have 5 Live? What's the vibe? Or is it a mixture of all three?
Mixture. Long drive, couple of podcasts.
How often are you stopping? So say 5 hours drive, how many
Probably
stops?
one stop.
You're a one stop for 5 hours.
If it's a 4 hour, I'll often try and do it without stopping.
Yeah, I would as well.
If it's 5, it's one stop. Anything more than that, it's probably multiple stops.
Which is essentially you're getting to North Wales territory from here. Those are your North Walian gigs where you get your 7 hours. And
I have done North Wales back without stopping because I wanted to get back for a Fulham game, and I drove for 6 hours 15 straight.
Do you know what's great for a long drive? Ringing a friend.
Yeah.
Shit for them.
Yeah.
Really bad. I was having lunch with a friend, and she was getting rang by her sister because her sister was driving. And then the face she went, oh, for God's sake, she's on a drive and she's going to want to chat about nothing for about... And then I was like, they're just going, that's sort of what I do to Emslie or Parfit.
Yeah,
he was fantastic on my drive back from Bangor.
I do that.
Gave me a good 2 hours.
Yeah, it's quite handy, isn't it?
2 hours of his time really kept me awake. Thanks.
Yeah, so I will do podcasts for a long drive. Bit of music if I want to...
Dead, as we know.
If I want to do energy. And then if there's any football on, I do like to listen to the radio.
Do you know what? I tell you what, cricket on the radio. Oh. I actually prefer it on the radio than to...
I don't really care about cricket, but I quite like it.
I listen to it on the radio and I'm like, I like this. Anyway.
What about you?
Fun chat.
Drive-wise, because you'll go back to Bristol quite a bit.
I'm pretty similar. I have a fun playlist. If I'm feeling really grumpy about the drive and like, I've got to go for a drive, I've got a bulletproof playlist of bangers that my sing-along playlist, I call it, which is... People would look for that on Spotify, see the words sing along and go, oh great, then they would look at the songs and they go, really? Sigaros Isiaki? It's like, yeah, it's the one I belt out because I like to try the high notes.
Is he happy?
I am when I'm on it. I'm absolutely. And then by about that means once I've got out of London, which is about an hour from here to get out of London, I feel happy.
Right.
And I'm on the motorway. Then I can listen to a podcast. Then by the time I'm getting home, I'm done with audio.
Yeah.
But yeah, or if it's there's nothing better than you're like, I've got a long drive, but I've got the 3 o'clock kickoffs.
Oh,
yes, amazing. That's
or even a late kickoff.
Coming
back from a gig when you've got a 7:45 kickoff, you've done your gig and you get the second half, and then 6:06. Oh.
Do you know the ultra is 3 o'clock kickoffs, first round of the FA Cup? No, third round of the FA Cup. Upsets,
not first
loads of shit going on. constantly throwing about. That is the premium spot of Five Live.
Yeah. Agree. That's the sweet spot for driving.
That for me is like my favourite time to drive and travel.
As a driver, what type of driver are you?
Do you know what? I think I'm quite chilled, stroke nervous. I think I'm more confident than I used to be in the car, but I've got a bit of stand-up about this, so I won't dive into that. But generally speaking, I would say I'm a tranquil driver, that I'm never in a huge rush. I don't know. You've been a passenger in my car.
Are you?
What would you suggest I am?
Yeah, I'd say there's times.
I'm certainly not angry.
There's times you're a bit there's a bit when you drove.
I question myself
when you drove into that bollard at the Shell station. I don't really know how that happened.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, I don't either. That was a case of. So what had happened is a lorry or a big car was trying to overtake my car to go and put his big fucking van in front of my car, and then there wasn't enough room to swing round. So I then reversed to try and make more room, didn't judge the angle, and then dented my car.
Yeah. I would say...
but that's... so those things where I feel like I'm in the way, I get flustered.
Sure.
But generally speaking, everything else I'm all right. But you know, when when you pull into a road and you're doing a reverse park in a sort of in a bay area... Not a bay, when you're doing parallel parking.
Yeah.
So, but you're blocking the road. So you have to do it under pressure because you've got traffic.
Yeah.
That's where I start getting a bit flustered.
Okay.
The general driving bit, I'm fine now. Very calm. Big distance between me and the car in front.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like risking that.
Yeah.
And I'm also very happy trickling along around London at 20, 25 miles an hour. And I'm not bothered by that.
I'm the same.
So I would say I'm a pretty chill driver. I just get flustered in times of panic.
As you would.
Just times of where I'm under time pressure.
Yeah.
That's where I get a little bit less good as a driver.
Yeah.
Or if my family are in the car.
Yeah.
I am awful when... It's like I've never driven before. But again, talk about that in the show. Won't go into that.
I would say that I have become a much calmer driver. As somebody who has a very calm exterior, I used to be... You
are so impatient, though.
Yeah.
Like, that always creeps out.
But I think if
Oh, come on, mate! Come on!
I think if
Have you got an accelerator?
I think if you're driving, right, and if you're 5 people behind at a light, I can see the lights have turned green. I'm ready to go as soon... when they're turning green. Also, you know when lights are turning green based on when the lights going the other way have stopped going. I just think I'm quite good at assessing when stuff is going to happen. Everybody thinks they're a good driver. I don't think. I think I'm
a fine driver.
I think I'm a fine driver.
I'm not going to put you in danger, but I will get flustered parking.
But I just think I am good at being like, well, clearly that's turning green. Let's get going. We've all got places to be.
This is where I struggle to with that.
Come on. We've all got places to be. We all know it's green. Go.
No, I'm breathe in, breathe out, crack on.
You're sort of a
I'm very manana, man. I'm manana, I'm peace sign, I'm chilled, I'm bandana, you know, I'm just there smoking a doobie. I'm not, because I don't, chilled.
In your white car.
In my white car.
I also don't care about my car, because
I do.
I couldn't give a shit. It gets me from A to B, and it's great.
I'm going to move this away from car chat and driving chat.
Right.
Because we talked about it in episode 1. But also, I want to talk about the fact I have now got a sewing machine.
When did that happen?
Christmas present.
Ah. Yeah?
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 I'm going to become a sewist.
What are you going to sew?
Probably shirts. I reckon I want to sew a shirt. I might sew a curtain for there.
Have you done any sewing?
No, never.
And you're just...
I'm going to learn.
Are you going to teach yourself, or are you going to get
My mum's going to help me to start with, and then I'm going to learn from YouTube and just learn how to sew.
Right.
I wanted a new thing.
And sewing, great.
And I thought, I want to make clothes. I like making things. And whenever I watch Sewing Bee or anything like that, and like the rest is the fashion one that Tan France does on Netflix, I go, oh, it does look fun making stuff. And I like making stuff. So I was like, I'm going to get into sewing. Have you got any hobbies that you're going to get into this year?
I've got my hobbies. Oh, no, that's not true.
That's not true. Oh, no.
I really want to go fishing.
Yeah.
But I don't want to fish.
Is this you just wanting to sit and look at the look? You just want to sit and look again?
I want to go fishing. I want to have a rod, but I don't want anything to be. I don't want to catch a fish. I'm not interested in catching a fish.
I am going to be honest. That would make fishing even more boring than it probably is.
I don't mind the sitting, and I want to sit by some water so I can hear water lapping around. But
do you not like, think the fun and the anticipation of catching a fish? I think what you would worry about is what the fuck do I do when it comes.
I don't want to catch a fish. I don't want to touch a fish. If I could go fishing and as soon as
there was someone else to do that stuff,
but also I need it guaranteed that the fish won't be hurt. I'm not interested.
It gets a bit of a hook through the mouth, but generally speaking, it's fine, isn't it?
I don't want that.
It recovers.
Either.
It's in salt water. That's what you do, isn't it? Salt water's fine.
Not rivers.
Yeah, well, if it's the sea fishing, I remember when I went fishing once. I went like seafront fishing.
Seafront
fishing? Seafront, whatever, I don't know, sea fishing from like the beach? What's that called? Seafront. And I was casting out, I was just one of those days where everything I touched turned to fish.
Really?
I absolutely hammered it. I got about 6 fish, but the guy I was with, loved the guy, but very much a fisherman in that he loves the whole process of fishing and was like, you have to learn, because we were going to eat those fish.
You're going to learn.
We were going to barbecue them. So you got to learn to kill the fish. And
it's horrible.
And he's like, you're not allowed to do anything. You have to use your hands to sort of knock them out.
Knock him on the floor.
And I've got to say, that was an unpleasant experience. So I didn't do a great job. Was when we put the fish in the freezer, they came back. They had wriggled around and found another part of the freezer to rest in. So, they were very fresh.
Oh. Yeah, I remember going, I was on a trip in Southampton, Solent. And we were fishing off the side of one of the forts. Really fun. And the people were like, oh yeah, no, if you catch a fish, we'll cook it. And so somebody next to me caught a fish, took it off the hook, and he was like, we'll definitely cook this, right? And they were like, yeah. So he then killed the fish. And then they walked to the kitchen. The kitchen was like, we're not cooking that. And I was like, we could have fucking thrown that fish back in. Wasn't a big fan of that.
Have you seen the fishing show with...
White House
and Mortimer.
Of course.
It's a really that sold it to me. That sold fishing to me.
Well, you did start this conversation by saying you thought it was boring.
Yeah, it probably is though. In theory, it looks nice when you can speed up the bits where you don't catch anything.
But that's fine. I'm not in the game for catching anything. I'm in the game for
sitting.
I would love no mobile phone. Sit.
To be fair,
if you went with a friend, you could just chat to your friend.
Emslie and I went on holiday.
We did.
Last year. We went to Greece. Mm. And our plan was to just sit. And we did. And it was unbelievable. That was because I've always do things.
Me too.
And this time we were like, let's just do nothing, really.
We did turn up to this place, and it was
very remote. We should say it was in the middle of nowhere.
It was one of the most. It was like the honeymoon suite.
It was. It was like It really was the honeymoon. Like we decided to put the money behind the Airbnb and not really fussed about where the area was. As long as it's close to water, it was fine. The Airbnb was genuinely ready for a married family. It was massive, amazing. And it was really it was really cost effective. Like really cheap for what you got in Greece, and we just lived life.
Well,
sat down.
Basically, what we did was we woke up, we had breakfast, we went to the sea, we splashed around in the sea, we came home, we had lunch, we sat, we slept a bit.
I cooked.
I wasn't allowed to cook.
It was a holiday for me, where I was like, I'll cook everything. I love cooking.
And then we slept for a bit, watched the sunset every night.
And that is good podcasting, everyone. That is an entertaining story.
I tell you what, though.
It was bloody good. I do recommend it.
Very rarely I will do a holiday. Maybe I will do a holiday and have a day or 2 days where you do nothing. Having a whole week of doing nothing. It was fucking amazing.
I have because I didn't think I was at that level of life yet.
What a routine.
I thought that was like something you did in your late 50s.
I was flossing my teeth morning and night.
Because you had nothing else to do. It's like, well, I can fit this in. I can fit flossing in.
It was great.
Weather
was great.
I could wake up early. You could wake up at 11.
Oh.
We went down to the beach. You could swim in this. And it was in October as well.
There's no one else there.
Unbelievable. Can we go back there now?
Not now, but we can go back. The island will be not close.
October.
You can't close an island, but
Well,
arguably, we didn't. Very unlike us, because we are both very organised boys. We arrived on a Sunday. Sorry, not true. We arrived on a Saturday, and then the ferries had stopped, so we had to stay over the night at the ferry
very unlike us.
port.
One, we misjudged when the ferry was coming, so we had to get an extra night in Mykonos, which is, I can be honest, not our vibe.
Yeah.
We are
Good
not,
ice cream.
Good ice cream. One thing we would say about Mykonos, great ice cream. And then we had to go to our tiny little island called Tinos.
Had to get a ferry.
We got a ferry on Sunday. We're like, we'll probably just pick some stuff up. So religious, isn't it, Greece?
Yeah. Turned up and had to buy like a thing in a corner shop.
I had to basically rustle up a meal out of a courgette and some rusks.
Aubergines
and rusks.
Aubergine and some cheese that they had left us in the fridge, which you went, I'm going to fry this. And I went, I don't think it's frying cheese.
And it wasn't frying cheese.
Put it on the grill.
It looked like halloumi, and then it just went, nah, I'm not halloumi anymore. It was so hard.
It was.
So the hardest cheese, and then it sort of gave up when it gave. It's oh no.
The guy who was running it was very sweet, and he sort of sat us down for an hour and took us through this map of all of these things to do.
Oh, he was like, yeah, there's so much to do in Tinos, and both you and I were politely thinking in our heads, we're not going to do any of that.
You have to go and see the pigeonry.
We're like, we're going to see this swimming pool and maybe the beach that's walking distance.
And we will drive to get some food once
a week.
Literally
in the
once.
week.
That's it, and then we'll come. And he was like, "Have you been to? No, not
no,
yet.
Haven't been to the Museum of Marble. haven't been even slightly near any of the churches you pointed out, and definitely probably haven't been to the north of the island, even though you said it was the most beautiful bit. So yeah, basically none of the above. And he was like, okay, here's some mosquito spray.
Oh, very sweet.
Oh, I loved that holiday.
Oh, it was great. On that holiday, we had a lovely time, very chilled. I had a real moment in the airport on the way back where I could not stop laughing. One of those real belly crying laughs. And do you remember the reason why?
Yeah, so I could not dial into your laughter. You know when someone else is finding something so funny and you really cannot work out why it's funny to them.
Oh.
So it was about, I can't remember, me doing some form of like, that you would imagine this whole scenario, that wouldn't it be funny that in an airport I tried to sort of get up and sort of G everyone up like they're going to go flying? Sort of like a holiday rep.
I still think it's so funny. The airport that we were in was really quiet.
Yeah.
And in my head, I said, I said to you, how much would it cost?
How much would it cost? It was one of those, how much would it cost questions.
How much would it cost for you to get up and start clapping?
What, like a long runner? Like a long jumper?
I think we settled on Kiss, God Gave Rock and Roll to You.
Oh, yeah. God gave rock and roll to you. And then I was wandering around. In your head, I was wandering around trying to get people to sing along to Kiss's God Got Rock and Roll.
And the thought of the quietness of the airport and you trying to get people clapping, it still gets me.
I still don't know why that's funny. And I think that makes it funnier for you, isn't it?
I think it's so funny.
Because I'm still just like, yeah.
The idea.
I thought you'd done some acid.
The idea of just the juxtaposition of the awkwardness of how quiet it was. They
are immensely quiet places, aren't they? Airports?
Well, this one was.
They're just like, it was, yeah. Anyway.
It was.
Good observation.
This one was.
But went to a quiet airport.
But I was just thinking, do you have anything that that inexplicably makes me laugh? I still laugh about it now. Mm-hmm. I find that really funny. And in my head, I've built this whole scenario.
Oh, yeah, I do have one. It doesn't bait me in a good light. So, when I was younger, I'm not sure if you ever had this, but we had a neighbour called Barbara, and I will name her because she's dead. She was a prick. She was the sort of person that if the ball went over the fence, so me and my brother used to play football in the garden, ball went over the fence, she's the sort of person that would put a knife through the ball.
Okay, it doesn't scream funny at the mo.
No, it will be. Or will it? I don't know.
Well, that's the fun, right? It's funny to you.
This doesn't paint me in a good light. I'll just again. There was one day I was looking out and I saw her sort of waddling across the fucking road, and then she kicked the curb and fell over. And to this, at this age, I was about 11 or 12, the evil neighbour had just stacked it. I was crying with laughter. Oh. And you know when it's like so loud that our windows weren't thick enough to really hide what what had happened. But yeah, you know, she deserved it. Even now I think about it, it's her falling over, and it was like it was in slow motion. It was fantastic.
Sounds like a Roald Dahl novel.
It does, doesn't it? And then just next to her, we had a great neighbour who would always like give us toffees and would try and encourage us to play football on the streets because she liked watching the kids. Like toffees.
Toffees.
And she wanted the kids to play in the street because she liked the fun vibe of the kids playing in the street. And then there was the evil neighbour next to it. It was great. Battle of the neighbours. Who wins? The nice one. You're welcome.
That's fun.
That's fun. So that always makes me laugh.
Yeah.
An old person falling over.
Was she old at the time?
Yeah.
No.
quite.
Oh, mate.
Not like...
Mine was a thought.
Yours was a lovely thought. Mine to me was a lovely thought. She didn't get up properly hurt. She just sort of slowly fell over, and it was very much like you could have said timber, and that made me laugh too.
Oh.
No,
Well.
no, anyone? Elderly people falling over?
Just to reiterate, he knows it paints him in a bad light.
Yeah, I do know this doesn't make me good.
Yeah.
But also...
So, hey, we've all got those.
Great fun, though.
We've all got those.
Great fun. But yeah, I'm going to be honest, nothing gets me in fits of laughter like that has recently happened. Apart from... What has happened to us? I'm sure we've done that where we cried with laughter.
Yeah, but explaining that story about the lighter and Paul Daniels isn't going to be fun.
Oh,
it's just not. It's no way fun.
Well,
for
we have to talk about it now because we've mentioned it. So basically, there was a moment where I fucked up. There was a moment where I fucked up that we both found funny.
Somebody asked you for a lighter
because I was smoking.
Because you were smoking at the time. You passed him the lighter,
but the lighter didn't like the light didn't. It didn't disengage, so it was still on fire as I passed it to him. I didn't realise that.
But he also had his hand out.
Yes.
And the lighter just sort of cooked his hand.
Cooked his hand a bit.
And he just went, all right, fucking Paul Daniels. Which at the time, that's the fun thing about it.
It's funny. Maybe it wasn't good. Maybe we shouldn't have gone down. Oh, well, we've got there now.
No, but I would say that these are the beautiful things about... Am I going to say it? I'm going to say it. They're the beautiful things about life, where something with your friendship group is the funniest thing you've ever seen. You try and explain it, and they go, "What? Why is that
in-jokes,
good?"
aren't they? Actually, it would be great if you have any of those. Send them to us. We'd like to know.
Try and write your in-jokes, and we don't care if they don't read well.
Send in your friendship in-jokes.
Oh.
That would be great. I'd love to read about your in-jokes.
I would as well.
Yeah.
I think there's something lovely about the fact that you could be belly crying, laughing, and then you try and explain it and it's not funny. There's something amazing about that.
It's so funny.
Great, thanks, mate.
So funny.
Right.
You right there?
Yeah, a little spin, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little spin. Spinning the glass on the table. Great. Sorry, this has really got very staccato towards the end, doesn't it?
Well, there we go. I think that's probably our episode for today. So Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year, our New Year episode. We'll be back again with an episode next week. You can watch us on YouTube.
You, of course, can watch us on YouTube. Please subscribe on there. That'd be great.
Yes.
Please also... There's also some other social... Instagram's the one that we're actually pushing. The others...
Yeah, Instagram, Parsons and Emslie. Do follow us. It would be great if you could. If you've enjoyed this, share this with your friends and do give us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're watching it or listening to it on.
And when this comes out, we're probably going to be very close to the tour. So what we're planning on doing is on the tour, we'll probably do some tour diaries episodes from tour.
Yeah, there will be doing some tour diaries. There'll be some pre-records as well whilst that's all starting to happen. So, yes, the tour is fast approaching and I'm fine.
We will be able to gauge how well...
I'm fine.
We'll be able to gauge how well...
I'm fine.
Of course, shut up. We'll be able to gauge how well it's going by your tone in the next episode.
Yes. London, it begins on the 19th. So as you're listening to this, that might be quite soon. Or, yeah, it will be quite soon.
Yeah, it will.
19th of January, London.
Bill Murray. Angel Comedy. The best.
No Emslie at that one, but he will join me at Bristol on the 22nd and then the 30th or 31st for Falmouth.
The date's moved a bit.
That's your January one.
But please do follow us, please do like, please do subscribe, and do just ask us questions. Pop anything you want in. We'd love to hear from you.
Pop us some DMs, why don't you?
Oh.
You were buffering.
Yeah, I was.
Anyway, until next time, it's always a pleasure.
Never a chore.
Be good to yourself.
All right.
Love you lots. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.